crossing the United States to his native South Africa. Nolan continues to push barriers and inspire people to inspire themselves. And you could be next. Join Nolan's 7-day online groundbreaking program called Obstacles Make Me Stronger, aimed at teaching you how to overcome any obstacles you may face, break barriers, be innovative, and take control of your life. For more information, check out Obstacles Make Me Stronger, now on Udemy.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. My name is Nolan Pillay, and I am your host for today. And it's our pleasure and honor to welcome Dr. Srijon Mukherji on our show today. Now, Dr. Srijon is the Director of CIMS in Kolkata, as well as Professor at Rama University, Kanpur, India. He is a self-taught painter and a prolific artist as well. He has carved a niche of his own through his work in the speciality of oral and I hope I pronounce this right, maxillofacial surgery, and continues not only operate and treat patients, but also guide upcoming surgeons from other specialties like plastic surgery and ENT, along with maxillofacial surgeons at his institute for the last 15 years. He has published numerous clinical research papers, which have featured in various international and national journals. Dr. Mukherji has also established a non-profit called Face Savers for the patients who can't afford to get operated. He has been tirelessly working since 20 years and aims to continue teaching young surgical hands as a service to the specialty and the community. Once again, Dr. Mukherji, welcome to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan.
First, I need to thank you for this invitation. Thank you. Yeah, tell me what I can.
It's a pleasure. So let's get directly into it. Let's dive directly into it, right? So what precisely were you looking for when you decided to leave India for further training in the subject?
It was a multifactorial decision. Maxillofacial surgery, as it happened that when we tried to pronunciate it sounds something new. It is a reasonably newer specialty. So the training pathways in the different parts of the world are not exactly in sync, not exactly the same. At the time when we qualified and we decided to go for post-graduation in maxillofacial surgery, in front of us, the available opportunities, the best one was in the United Kingdom. The greatest advantage was the requirement at that time already in that country was double qualification for consultant maxillofacial surgeon position. So you have a dental qualification, you have a dental fellowship, then you do medical qualification and go for a medical fellowship. It is the longest pathway of being a surgical consultant. The advantage of this double qualification was that the spectrum was much wider than the countries like India, where it still remains a single specialty, single qualification subject. In the sense, you can go directly through dentistry, do your post-graduation, get into maxillofacial surgery. So that, because there is a prevailing concept in society about who does what. People do not look for publications or what is going on right now on today. They know already that who will be doing what kind of procedure on them. So in a double qualified environment, it was easier to have a much bigger specialty, much bigger spread. Like we could learn skull-based surgeries, the surgeries for orbit, reconstruction of the eye socket, and these kind of things which were not so popular at the given moment in India, in Indian training pathway. And there was another reason, internship. Internship is the year after our final exam. And that year, we do not get a registration number. In India, we can only appear for our postgraduate examination after we have completed internship. Before that, you are not allowed to enter the postgraduate entrance exam. However, with your degree alone, you could appear for the part 1 of the fellowship exam in UK. So to be very honest, the first reason was that was the only choice in the year when I was already bubbling with energy to go and do some maxillofacial surgery, to get into the arena already. And I didn't have an opportunity to do that in India. Still, there is nothing. You have to complete your internship before you can take your postgraduate entrance exam into a specialty subject. Whereas in the Royal College, they allow you after your degree, in the year when you are doing your pre-registration house officer position, in that year, you can still do the part one. So these two factors together pushed me to look no further. And I was fortunate, it clicked and the process started.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. And I'm sure at some point in the near future, you will bring this into India and make sure you can actually allow students to study directly in India, right?
Yeah, we have already with that. I'm talking about 20 years has passed since then. And today, our kids cannot complain that they are not getting the full spectrum anymore. There are plenty of us back here now, trained in different areas outside India. And we have already moved on into the full spectrum of maxillofacial surgery, skull bases, root of the neck, craniofacial surgery. Everything is done in maxillofacial surgery here in India already.
Wow.
I'm just one of the many people who are doing it.
That's a huge step. So I like that, innovation at its best as well. So tell us a little about your experience working in the UK. Were you like really happy being there? And what made you decide to come back to your homeland, India?
Point one, happy, extremely happy I was. Training could not be delivered better. The British, I have not visited every part of the world, but I have come across students and fellows from almost all over the world. So when I discuss with them about their training pathway, teaching is one of the specialties that comes very naturally in the British system. So and there the advantage is, unless you reach absolutely the bottleneck of the topmost consultant positions, all the way before that, it is really very honestly open. It is totally up to your ability to gather. How much you can hold, you will be given that. So that way we went on. What happens at the very end of the bottleneck, we will not get into that discussion. That kind of situations are there everywhere in the world. But in the training pathway, I had fantastic teachers. I was very fortunate. I was kind of in the right place at the right time. The textbooks that we study, I could get trained by the authors of those textbooks. And the additional advantage was, it was towards their fag end of career. They were about to retire. So that is the time when you allow your junior to do much more, because you would rather be in the golf course on a Saturday. So you let your juniors do much more. And if the junior is doing justice to your confidence, then the person gets so much additional. So in the 5 years that I was there, the training and the degree was over within the first 3. 2 extra years were there just to make things a little better. And I was absolutely happy, to the true sense of the term. The financial support that you get in the jobs over there and alongside the training, everything was fantastic. Next, the question comes, why you decided to come back? I don't think, don't take it otherwise. I don't think that, because I had to answer that question just too many times. And I just think that question should not arise, because I belong somewhere. I went there for a purpose, and I got that, what I went for. So now why to stay back? What's so special? I have got a vast territory to deliver what I have gathered. I cannot get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Home.
Indeed. And let's be honest, home is home, man. Right?
Exactly.
Home is always home. So, I like what you said, Dr. Mukherji, as well, that, when you reach a certain age and you believe that you need to be passing down the knowledge and the skill to the younger generation so that they can leave a legacy as well, like yourself. That's so important, because, what I find around a lot today is many people don't want to part with their knowledge and their skills. And it's a bit dangerous, because when we start to do that, we're not really opening up the gap for the younger generation to come and take over. And I think a lot of people need to remember this simple fact, that when you are teaching a younger person your skill, your knowledge, you're actually imparting your legacy on them. And that's what makes you stand out more than ever. I'm sure with the teachers that you've been taught under, they always say, wow, this is Dr. Mukherji, and this is the guy that we actually trained and worked with, right? They're proud of you now. of all your achievements.
I'm pretty fortunate in that sense. Yes, it's like I do still meet them at conferences and all, and they really make push me to a point of tears, as so much good things they have to say. And yeah, there is one point about imparting the knowledge. You see, with time, we all will have to become irrelevant. We have to understand that very stern truth. Your relevance only stays through the people who believe that what they are doing is a continuation of what you have been doing. There is no one. We had great surgeons, great teachers who have been great secretaries and presidents in our associations. And they, when they come today in the conference, unless some of us who already know them, we rush to them, touch their feet. But not everyone know them anymore. They have already started sitting at the last benches. And what happens? This is a truth, and this will always be the truth for everyone. So it is best if they understand it from the very beginning and make the crowd of followers so big, the students so big, that they will never become irrelevant till the last day that they're breathing.
Oh,
That is the only way to remain relevant.
very well said. I like that. I like that. So when you did come back as well, what was the scenario of your subject when you came back to India?
Yes, it was very individual specific pockets of good work, and a vast area where there were many more things that could have been done. The scenario had one disadvantage which remains till date. That is, the government here has got maxillofacial surgical position only in postgraduate teaching dental colleges. The general government hospital I'm talking about, not about a few star facilities. General hospitals do not have a position called a maxillofacial surgeon. Now, there are private hospitals which are big multi-speciality hospitals which have the specialty. When I returned, mostly these were attached to the dental specialty, and they were working in second line with the neurosurgeons or other general surgeons and plastic surgeons in some injuries, which I didn't like. And at one of the biggest hospital in the country, as such, the biggest hospital chain, I was fortunate to get absorbed by them, and I was given a department to build up because I was telling all these stories, and I was giving them big promises. So they wanted to try me out and allowed me a free hand to develop a department. And I set up in the city probably the one independent first maxillofacial surgical department rather than a maxillofacial surgeon in a dental department. And we tried to visit every hospital. I tried to make friends with people who were already friends, but now I was just pulling them, dragging them into presenting things into our national and state chapter conferences, and we started developing it, which has and then what happened, there were many youngsters who were in dentistry. I didn't know. They now come and tell me that these things have been quite inspiring, and they actually decided at that point that they were going to pursue the post graduation. There was a gap in between because they all went for their post graduation training, and when they returned pretty recently, now everything is being done in every hospital setup. However, we are still struggling to create at least one maxillofacial position in every government district hospital, because that is, in a country like India, the first line support for the common man. The big hospitals have this subject, but we still have a struggle there because there is a big overlap area. We overlap in territory with the ENTs, with the plastic surgeons, and now in India with onco surgeons. This term you will probably not know. This is only there in India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. There is a kind of a specialty to operate on cancer only. So they also take the head and neck cancer as a territory which should be theirs alone. So this kind of an internal crisis, which is a good thing, for the dynamics, that there is a competition. But as we all know, competition doesn't remain very benevolent throughout time. There are times when we don't like to see each other. So these kind of circumstances are still there, and we still have to, like as you kind of in the middle of pronunciating maxillofacial surgery in the first in the beginning of our conversation, we need to make it much more popular to many more people, so that it comes in the same line as the standard, our old specialties, because we have got a lot to offer and people are missing out because they don't know. And that is being promoted for business reasons. The lack of knowledge about this subject is not that people are not letting us actually break the barrier, break the glass, and let everybody know it and make it a household term. So that struggle is still continuing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you're right. It's the first time I heard about this as well. I mean, in the last 2 weeks or so. And this whole idea with CIMS, right? So to the audience that's listening, if you don't know what CIMS is, and it's spelled CIMS, it stands for Calcutta Institute of Maxillofacial Surgery. Now, when did this thought arise, and when did this come to your mind that you needed to do something like this? Was this around the same time when you came back to India?
This is, I think, the dream of every independent professional to run the show as they want it to. However, due to the need of infrastructure, investment, and many things else, especially the input that goes into development of this kind of setup, people shy out from that, and instead they would rather work with a system. That is always good. An existing system, a big system where there is a big inflow of money and the infrastructure is running fine, and you just become a small tool in that machine. However, if you are dealing with something where you believe that there is much more to contribute, and there are controversial areas of overlap and all, and there is a very important point, which is business, which is the balance sheet. Balance sheet is dependent on the inflow of your clients or patients in this case, and that happens with following certain principles. New specialty with the competition with some existing strong specialties always lag behind. Moreover, for us coming from the specialty of dentistry, in the first instance, do not give people the impression that these are people who can actually cure someone from a big cancer of the mouth or neck or remove a tumor from the base of the skull. People do not know this. And as I said, that there is an active effort not to let people know this very well.
Yeah.
So where the balance sheet comes in is, if everybody doesn't know this, then you are not going to produce a substantial amount of money for the people who are providing you with the infrastructure. There is a big corporate setup that is kind of supporting you, and they, end of the day, they may be very nice in many ways and talk about development of science, betterment of people. End of the day, the balance sheet is the only thing that they're interested in. So if you succeed in everything, if you do the best of surgeries, if you cure and save too many lives, but if you are not bringing in adequate money, then you are a nobody, and you are not going to get any support from them. So when that starts interfering with your development as a surgeon, you should feel something. I felt something, and I felt that there is no way that I could adjust with this system. Why not the government? Because government has got less of that problem of requirement of balance sheet figures, but there is a chronology, and that chronology is complicated by many things, mainly some kind of internal politics, because government means a party that is ruling the show, and the person who is your superior may not be superior in quality, but much superior in pleasing people who are in power. So that person will have the say, not you. So these were the two problems I faced very palpably in the government and the private sector. And instead of feeling frustrated and just succumbing to it, I decided to do my own parallel line, a small one, but enough for my lifetime. That was the whole concept.
Yeah, so that was the thought, and with the thought came all of these struggles and hindrances as well, right? You know, the world over, if you look at it now, so there's 2 points that I picked up that are very pertinent here. The first one is, if you look at the world over, and especially with big organizations, it's all about the dollar chase. It's all about how much of money they can get. And in that same breath, they're missing out the second biggest value, which is humanity. And this is where we need, you know, heart-centered leaders like yourself that come in and bring in that humanity portion as well, and allow people to realize that, you know what, there are facilities around there. I know yesterday was a big day for CIMS as well. So was it the anniversary of
It
CIMS
was.
yesterday?
We managed to struggle and survive for 15 years already. Yesterday was our
Wow.
15th birthday.
Congratulations, and congratulations on that. It's such a major achievement. I mean, 15 years in the industry, in the business as well. I know you mentioned a bit of the struggles. What other struggles that did you face? What other obstacles? Because you sound to me the type of person that if there's an obstacle or a challenge, you're gonna ram through those obstacles and challenges, right? Because
Yeah.
you got your goal in mind, you know what you want to do with Sims, and you went all out, and here we are today, 15 years later, Sims is still around.
Struggle. See, it can be. Let us put it in a nutshell. Primarily, the struggle comes from the financial side. There are banks and other facilities, but they also are bodies who are looking after their profit. So to make them understand, if you are going all the way like I did, I went for the true value, in the sense exactly what I knew was going to happen. I told it to the banks, and that didn't make the project that I submitted look very healthy. They felt that it was not going to be viable for many years. So there was a struggle. The struggle came to the point where I had to go for a 35-65 promoter is to bank contribution ratio. Normally, for projects, they go up to 5 to 10% from the promoter, and the rest comes from the bank. I had to actually borrow money from friends and relatives. Whatever I had, everything was put in. So these kind of things, it is common for every kind of business. But
Correct.
once that is over and we carried on, the next
Yeah.
problem came was that how do people know that we exist? I can complain a lot because this is an argument. This is a thing that I am having to discuss with my patients very often. My patients, who many of them are very happy with what they have received in terms of everything, not just the surgical part, the way they are treated as a person from the same family. Those things they like. So they
Mhm.
come up with a straight complaint. Doctor, how do I come to know about you? It was by accident I came to know about you because I know someone whom you have treated before. Why aren't you present in the media or different types of ways that people come to know? Now, what has happened with the present inflow of money into media, into advertising, these things are extraordinarily expensive.
Yeah.
Because if you are making yourself known through this advertisement, the money that comes has to come from your patient, because that is your only source of earning. So that increases the cost to a level which will actually nullify my whole idea. So I'm struggling with presently we are very fortunate about this social media scenario, where we do not really have to be very rich to tap it, but
Yeah.
the conventional ways of hoardings and banners and newspapers and television ads, it is incredibly expensive. And the other thing is that has made people believe a wrong thing. If somebody is sitting on in a chair in a big hospital, it's a big doctor, it's a great big thing. Actually, the criteria, you see, you have to have the required qualifications, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But your excellence is not your criteria of remaining in a big corporate setup. It is how well you can balance, match, and be loyal to the business ideas of the investor in the corporate. So that thing will is going to be there, and I believe that one lifetime is not what we should look at. We are blips
Yeah.
in the universe. So the way I am working with the little bit of advertising, little bit of knowledge that people are gathering, I have more than 10,000 patients directly over here, new patients. So with that much of spread, the natural organic growth of knowledge about one, and every student who is coming out from here, they should take it on further. So this kind of old fashioned organic way is the only way for me, because there is no way that the media, the advertising business is going to help us, because they have got big targets to meet, and they don't want to get into this nonsense of philosophy, and people they have to sell it, but they
Mhm.
don't like to waste time and their space on things like what will be good for a person who is suffering. It is somebody else's prerogative, maybe the government or whatever. It is somebody else. It is not me.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, and I believe a lot in CIMS from the time I've been following you guys. And a huge shout out to Anurag Vats, who like introduced me to you as well. And I know with platforms like this, we can get the message to as many people out there as possible as well, and let them understand what CIMS is really all about as well. And in saying this as well, Dr. Mukherjee, we seldom like to kind of show off what we've achieved in the last 15 years, right? And we need to be doing this because the more we show our achievements and what we've actually done and our knowledge of the subject, then people will start recognizing us, right? So what are some of the experience, what are some of the achievements and contributions you've had in the last 15 years?
Well, starting from recent, going backwards, recently for over a year now, see, I paint, as you also mentioned, I paint and I hold solo exhibitions every year. Fortunately, paintings are selling well, and I can manage with what I earn from my surgery, so I don't need the money from the painting. What I do is that whole money goes into a fund that sponsors patients for surgery. But it doesn't happen this way that I run free surgeries here, come and get it done, I will pay for it. I don't do that. When patients come and I see that some of them are struggling with the last 30% or 40% of the cost. That's what I pay from my available fund from the painting, because that's what is possible, because otherwise I will finish it off in 3-4 cases. Now that I do only a part of it, the part that they are really finding difficult to pay, we are actually, it is going a long way. So that is, I believe that is one of my achievements, that I could finally do that. Two things. My painting thing is being recognized, I see, through this, and it is directly helping people. So adding to the so this is one of the recent achievements. Before that, there are surgeries, like even now we do surgeries. The one that has come in the caption on your show, 5-hour surgery saves. It was a 6-month-old child with a craniofacial anomaly. Craniofacial anomaly is when the whole skull develops in a deformed way. From birth, the head is deformed. Me with Dr. I will mention the name because he was equally responsible for it. Dr. Amitabh Chando, who was the neurosurgeon, and we two together performed a surgery. That is what came in the newspaper in a big way nationally, because when the skull comes out and it is reconstructed, the general practice is somehow release the stress from the brain to give the space, but they forget about the long-term facial features are so important. The self-esteem of the person for the rest of the life is so important. So we perform a surgery, craniofacial surgery, at the spot to actually make the necessary changes on the face, with which the child will develop eventually. So the brain is released and released from pressure due to the deformity of the skull. That part, my neurosurgeon colleague did perfectly well. And I fiddled around and played with the pieces of bone of the face and the forehead and reconstructed them in a way so that the child eventually developed with a normal face. This is just one. And here the word comes again. This is a surgery I did at Fortis Hospital, not here at SIMS. Fortis has got the resource to call the press. They came, they saw the child's parents talked to them, they were in tears, they were so happy, and that became a big news. But I am performing similar, not in the exact same direction, in other directions. Many interesting surgeries here, but priests will not feel very interested if I just give them a call to come. They are more interested in some other areas maybe. So this is one. Previous to that, my first big exposure, which was when I was at Apollo again. This was a child who was again about a 5-year-old child. The kid fell down from a 5-story building and landed on the face. The child was brought to the hospital not with the hope of survival. They thought that because they felt that the child was still alive, they felt that it was necessary for them to bring the child to the hospital, but they didn't come in with a hope. And we started. We were spending all the time in the emergency areas and all at the time. Apollo of Kolkata at that time was not such a busy hospital. So when this child came in, we told that we can only do the best we can. Let us try. We tried, and the child didn't only survive the face. If you see the face, you will not know that there was such a big incident. In surgery, in this kind of surgeries, it is our part is limited. We will do whatever can be done. But the way this child landed on the face, the soft tissue covering somehow was not too badly damaged. So all the maneuvers that we did with the bone inside, when that got fixed, the soft tissue took care of making it look nice. So I'm a believer, and I believe that we only give results when the results are kind of designated to be given, and that happens a lot with me. I feel very blessed.
Wow. Well done, and congratulations on that surgery as well. With the 6 month old, I saw a few newspaper articles on it as well, and that is why achievements like this need to be really recognized so that we can get more funders into CIMS to help the people. Like you said, you basically sell your paintings, and some of the funds where patients are struggling to pay on their own, you're funding it. You're funding this on your own. So congratulations on that, and that again shows the humanitarian in you as well. So to everyone that's listening out here, share this with as many people as possible. Let's get more recognition into CIMS and let them see what Dr. Srijon Mukherji is actually doing. I know there's quite a bit of challenges that you have as well, but regarding your entrepreneurship, what challenges are around that do you have?
Um, I think we have actually covered it already, as I mentioned. Entrepreneurship per se, I'm not a business student, and I do not know the exact way that it is presented, but I believe that it is quite often related to the success is measured by financial successes very often in the territory of entrepreneurship, as it comes to me. As I said, it's not my field. I never went out to become an entrepreneur. Many of my friends call me that. Many of my doctor friends who are working at hospitals, they think I'm an entrepreneur. I have to have my own place to work and my facilities. Everything that I want for my patient, I want it now. I do not want to wait for my finance team to release the fund. And first, they will have to believe that this is necessary, this is worthy of funding. Then they will allot the fund. I cannot wait for that. I need something for my patient, I will do it. We can, with a qualification, with some skill, we can sustain our lives. I think the only quality I probably have is that I lack the greed for more in terms of finances. I have a huge greed for more in terms of being able to deliver better and better than everyone else in the world. I have a big greed for that, but that has equally cut down the greed side from my personal commodity-wise requirements. So as long as I can sustain this place and sustain myself and family, I will just everything that comes in goes into it, and we get results. So
There's one important
Yeah.
one important point that I just want to harp on that you mentioned as well, right? Because as you know, I'm based out in South Africa, and if you happen to go into even a private hospital, right, and you got a medical aid cover, you got to wait for that approval from the medical company before anyone in that hospital will even attempt to put in to do anything on you, to put in a drip on you as well. So that's what separates you from a lot of people that I know or I've interacted with. You're not waiting for those funds to be released. You know the urgency for that patient, and you're doing it now rather than waiting. So this is a good lesson for all the other hospitals out there, be it private or government hospitals. Take action now and worry about the funding later, because that human life matters at that present moment. It matters now. Yeah, we spoke a little about entrepreneurship. What's your message to the youngsters out there, all the young minds that are listening in?
Well, I think it's very simple. Happiness, pursuit of happiness, is that special thing which, when we just are okay for survival in every way, then pursuit of happiness is the only thing that keeps us going on and on. And we know these are repetitions. We know that pursuit of happiness comes with 3 P's: pleasure, pleasure, passion, and purpose. Now, if you get a little bit of pleasure, it's fine. But if you get a bit of passion, a lot of pleasure is already in that. And finally, if you are actually chasing a purpose, I don't know, again, as I mentioned, that financial balance sheet of purpose. But if you are into purpose, it is a business and an enterprise for your lifetime and beyond. So it is a purpose seeking effort. That's what enterprise is for me.
So living a purpose-driven life as well, right? Because that adds so
Yes.
much more value to you as a person. We spoke a little about painting, and I'm really interested to know, how did this painting start? How did you? Well, you're not actually an artist; you call yourself a painter, to be precise, right? So let's talk a little about that. How did that start about? And we've learned now how it's contributing into CIMS, into the facility as well. But where did the painter come in? Where did this skill come from?
I think it came a bit genetically. My father has been an artist, not a painter artist. He was a commercial artist, and I had since a child, I used to stand behind him, between everything, between my studies, between games and sports, and watch what he was doing. And as it always happens, you have a hero worship for your father if the person is a good man, and and you try to pick up things, try to copy the person. Probably that was the beginning of my painting to start with. However, my father was categorically opposing my intention to become an artist, because that I was choosing, like him, I was about to choose that as my career. But he faced the struggle of an artist in a country like here, and he said you have to have a first profession, and then you feel free to pursue your art. So after medicine, I got a time, and after CIMS came up in 2008. That was the time when I could bring my canvas into my chamber. Whenever a patient comes, the patients who are there for a long time, in the sense when they come for review, they look the other way when they enter my clinic, because the other side is the studio where my new paintings are there, which I am still working on, and they are used. That's what makes my exhibition successful, because again, how do I advertise my exhibitions? I don't have to. It is my patients who bring huge number of people, their friends and family, and that's why the exhibitions get successful. So this is it. And since childhood, painting started in college, all those college fests, painting competitions and all, and it went on and on. But in the medical study days, I used to do little bit of commercial work and earn some money out of that. Finally, the luxury of having big canvases and paint properly, that came after I could bring the canvas into my clinic properly.
Wow. Well, I'm hoping that one day I get to travel to India and come and have a look at your clinic, and have a look at some of your artwork as well, your artistic work.
But if you try to look for them in Google, those are available. In YouTube, there is a detail of Elements 2. Elements 2 is the name of the last exhibition, and
Okay.
it shows all the paintings there. You can have a look.
Perfect. I'll definitely check it out. So to the audience that's listening in as well, go on to Google and look under Elements 2 to have a look at some of the work of Dr. Srijon Mukherji as well. And if you have any questions, please type it in the chat. If you have any questions for Dr. Mukherji, type it in the chat there. We'll be able to see those questions, and we can ask those questions on your behalf as well. So, we're almost at the end of our interview today. From what I'm noticing, you're doing so much as well regarding your life as an entrepreneur, as a surgeon, and as an artist as well. How do you find time to balance all of this? How do you balance all of this?
I don't. As simple as that. As simple as that. People who kind of deserve my time, like the family side, there has been a persistent complaint from day one, and it will stay there as well. Because balance is good, but you cannot get everything together. I couldn't strike a balance. And the good thing is, everything falls into place gradually. People get used to not seeing you, and and that's how it has come to, because my work, what I am doing, is so fulfilling in terms of recreation as well for me. It is almost the same. A painting or a trekking, that is another hobby that I pursue actively, going to the mountains, and my surgery. They all touch similar centers in my brain. So I get relaxed enough and comforted enough in my surgery itself,
Mhm.
thrilled and everything. So I think it's an internal balance rather than an external proper balance that is seen.
Wow. I like that. Did you mention going to the mountains as well as one of your hobbies?
Yes, yes. Nowadays I cannot do too much. About once a year I try. Previously it used
Oh,
to be
wow.
much more.
Okay, so we're definitely going to trek because I'm an avid mountaineer as well. I do a lot of hiking, etc. as well. So when we make the trip, we'll
Yes,
do
we are
Everest.
going to be. Sure, that's
Definitely.
for sure.
Dr. Mukherjee, thank you so much for being on our show today as well. I don't see any questions coming in for you. So I'd like to just thank the audience, for making the time to listen in today on the live stream as well. Thank you for listening to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. Any last words for the audience? Any last tips? Any advice for them? And also, how can they get in touch with you?
It's like getting in touch. I am very, very easily Googleable, and you get Kolkata Institute of Maxillofacial Surgery, Calcutta. If you put these two words, Kolkata and maxillofacial, side by side in Google, MSN, Yahoo, everywhere for years now, we are coming in the first one, which is after the sponsored links. I never had a sponsored link. So it will be in the 3 or 4 in the first page, just after the sponsored link. That is the first organic one. So from there are links with my direct telephone number, my email ID, everything is there. So it's easy to get that way. If it is a last word to people who feel that there can be some light into this, it's just that purpose will give you passion and pleasure. So it's purpose that you look for, that
Mhm.
makes it great fun moving on, even if you are not getting those small pieces of pleasure at certain points. Purpose will carry you on without a doubt.
Very well said. Purpose will drive you in anything you do, and that's part of life, right? If you live a purposeful life and go after what brings you joy and gets you out of bed every single day, go out and do it. Thank you for that advice as well to the audience. And Dr. Srijon Mukherjee, once again, thank you so much for being on our show. It's really an honor and a privilege. And I so look forward to the day where we can actually meet face to face and have a look at your surgery as well. Once again, thank you. And to everyone listening, have a good evening, a good afternoon, or a good morning wherever you are in the world. My name is Nolan Pillay, and I'm the host for Straight Talk with Nolan, Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. Thank you. Cheers.